As you can see the empty over there. We've been starting to box some stuff up for the move. Just getting a jump on it, boxing up stuff. You know, we're not gonna need. I did box up some of my games already. Books, the G.I. Joes. Just the beginning, though, you know. We obviously have time, but like I said, just jump on it. I'm not. Yeah. That's going to be exciting. Obviously, I've talked about it, but also very nerve-wracking. I was actually trying to see if there's any card stores down in the area we're moving to. I saw something. It was it's not like a card store, but I guess people like vendors go there and sell their cards, I guess. Not like a traditional card store. I don't think there's many traditional card stores left, to be honest with you. Where they have boxes of cards and you can buy single packs and stuff. Because I'm definitely going to get another binder when we get down there, and because I have a bunch more of the pages. Start throwing more cards into binders. Maybe get them up on a shelf or something. Islanders are on a 3-game winning streak. I was looking. They have 14 overtime losses or shootouts. They've gone to overtime or a shootout 23 times, which is nuts. They've played 60 games, so that is more than a third of the season that they've gone to at least overtime. And then they haven't gone to a ton of shootouts. But they actually won an overtime game the other day against Dallas, and then they beat Detroit, and then they beat up on the Bruins pretty good. The Bruins actually also have 14, I think, overtime losses, shootout losses. So, but the difference is they have a shit ton more wins, Boston. So they're not in fear of missing the playoffs because they have so many regulation wins that it doesn't matter. Because the Islanders are like, yeah, they're 26-20. No, wait. They've played 60 games. They have 14. Yeah, they're 26-20 and 14, I believe, right? 46. 56, 60. They're not even a bad team, the Islanders. It's just that they have to be the worst third period team in the league. If I looked up the stats, they have to be. They've blown so... some of those are 1-goal leads, of course, and there are some games that actually have come back to force overtime, but they play the Rangers in the, whatever they call it, the Winter Classic, the teams play, and they were up like 4-1, and then they were up 5-3 with like 5 minutes left and blew that and lost in overtime 6-5. Like, they've blown a lot of multi-goal leads in the third period. Like, I don't know why they're such a bad third period team. They have played better under Patrick Waugh. They still have blowing leads, but they've played like consistently more better under him. But if they miss the playoffs, they're going to miss the playoffs probably like low 90s points, and it's going to come down to the fact that they don't have a lot of regulation wins because they've gone to overtime 6,000 times. We watched a couple of movies yesterday. I watched the last episode of Halo. I talked about Halo at some point. I know I've talked about Halo in the past, like in the first season. You have to go into the Halo Idaho show being like, okay, they're not going to really follow much of anything from the games or the books. Little things here and there. Obviously, you have actual characters from them and stuff. And places, but I honestly don't mind the second season. Because I can detach myself from that as long as it's enjoyable. The problem is the first season, even detaching yourself from it, it still wasn't good. This one's better. I'm not going to tell you it's fantastic or anything, but and Master Chief's out of his, at least there was a reason he was out of his gear the last episode and the 2 episodes, really. I assume he's going to get the suit back at some point, right? I kind of don't mind that in a sense because it makes the Spartans seem more human, even though they're not really. They're supposed to, be super soldiers, the saviors almost, looked at like almost as gods, even by the demon, by the covenant, and it's larger than life because they are by the humans themselves. You got to see a brute. I guess it was a brute chieftain, maybe in the beginning of the last episode, episode 5, I think. Yeah, the gravity hammer again. He got killed, but no hunters still though. And I'm talking about the worms. The hunter worms they showed in I forget Lego, or I don't know what they're actually called. Something with like LEGOKOLO or something like that. Like Okro, I don't know. They showed the worms, though. They showed them. Because that's what they are, right? They're a bunch of like worms, and they form into things. And like it's slightly similar to the Flood in the sense that when together they're stronger in a hive type mind scenario. None of them in action, though. No grunts so far in this season. They showed the one brute, and it's been the Singali, the elite, and jackals. That's it. There was cool stuff on Reach. Obviously, they completely redid the story of Reach from the games and stuff. It's still cool to see the Covenant and shit. Like, that's what gets me the most excited. Like, that's how I always was. I'm still getting over being sick here. I'm still there a little bit. I feel a lot better, but now you can hear it in my voice. But even playing the games, the Covenant were more interesting to me than the Spartans and the humans, and so the Flood for that matter. But I would say they showed the ring. Oh, there's spoilers here. I mean, if you know, they showed the Halo ring and the McKee character still hang. Now I would assume I'm starting to wonder if I could be wrong, and this could have already been explained. I just forgot. If McKee is supposed to kind of be like, does the Covenant have Cortana now? Were they trying to? I'm trying to think if the Covenant. I forget. If McKee's supposed to be a guilty spark in the sense that but the Covenant I forget the games. If the Covenant was like using him, or they were not using him, but they were trying to get like him to show them stuff or something. I forget. I'm probably completely off. But they did mention they actually called him the Arbiter in this episode. They showed the ring where they're gonna have to go. Where I assume they find out everything about what the rings mean, and the Flood will appear maybe the end of this season. Because I guess they would have alluded to it this season when Kwame was looking at the cave drawings, and they look like a giant flood type thing, I believe. And that old woman who is in the first episode of season 2 appears to Quan in a vision and is mentioning something similar to the Flood, like something's coming, it's getting closer. I can't wait to see how they botch the Flood. I have been enjoying this season a lot more than I'm not going to sit. Like I said, I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's great, but it's infinitely better than the first season because the first season had its moments, but overall, like if you took all the moments of the first season and put them into, you could probably put them into one good solid episode if you took all the parts. This one has been better than that. You're getting at least more action and stuff, even though Master Chief. Someone in a comment, I think it was on YouTube because I was watching a trailer for the next episode, and the person's like, so I guess Master Chief's is Sam Fisher now. Because he's going after Ackerson now, and then so they show him like killing fellow soldiers and stuff. So, like I said, you got to detach yourself from it, and if you still can't enjoy it, then that is fine because it would make sense. Some of it is still stupid, even without knowing Halo lore or anything. Some of it you're kind of like, what? But it is, to me, it's better. I'm not gonna, like I said, it's not great, but it's much more watchable than it was, and I just want to kind of see more Covenant. I want to see more Covenant shit, but they never. I'm like, where's the hunter? Bring some hunters into the mix here in their armor, with their what they got, the fusion cannons or whatever they have. Get the grunt with the fuel rod. Is that what it is? The fuel rod cannon. Get the grunt with the fuel rod cannon. But they, like I said, you have to completely detach yourself from it because it's just. Once again, though, the guy pubs his name Pablo Schreiber. Like totally Master Chief. Like I can see it. Like there's parts where he really plays the part in terms of how Master Chief acts well, regardless if he's in the suit or not. Now he's pissed, and like Riz has been busted up too, and Vanek is gone, and now he wants payback. So he does have more of a Sam Fisher edge now. We also watched the Beekeeper movie, and was it called Lisa Frankenstein? The one Sprouse twin, and the girl from Freaky, and she was in a Paranormal Activity. It's like 10 years ago. And she's been in a good amount of stuff. I forget her name, Madeline or something. I don't know. That was alright. It was almost like a ode to those 80 kind of horror-ish movies, kind of like B-horror type movies. It wasn't bad. It was decent. I think it was Cole Sprouse, maybe it was the one. I think it's the one that was in the show he was in. I watched the first season of it. Riverdale. You damn Riverdale punks. It's that Simpsons, where they throw Homer out of the car. He's like, stay out of Riverdale. Damn Riverdale punks think they can tell me what to do. That movie was pretty good. Beekeeper was cool. It was similar like that movie Nobody with Bob Odenkirk. He's like in a separate operated classified group. He's a retired beekeeper. They're like the last line of defense or whatever the fuck. They want to protect the hive, and if something's wrong with the hive, they do shit. And this woman he likes has been renting out his stuff where he can do his beekeeping because he's retired. She gets her money taken from her from these scammers, and she kills herself. Spoilers. And he goes on a rampage getting revenge. It was great. It's Jason Statham. Good action stuff. Jeremy Irons is in there. So is Josh Hutcherson. That's his name. He's pretty good at the fucking... It's crazy. It goes pretty wild towards the end. It was pretty good, though. And I think it was Lisa Frankenstein. That was pretty decent, too. Actually, it was kind of funny and kind of goofy. It was, like I said, it was playing on those like kind of 80s horror-ish, goofy type movies. We watch anything else? Oh, we watched the last episode of Impractical Jokers. His name Eric Andre. He was back again, helping with the punishment. Sal was the one that lost. I said I'm going to get, once I start to feel completely 100%, well, as best as I can feel, without the other issues that have been ongoing, I'll probably get into a groove of different kind of videos. I know I've been just going to do rambles and stuff. I do want to get up a Final Fantasy VII Rebirth gameplay. That might actually go up before the ODST one. I did not pack ODST up yet. I'm like, okay, certain games I don't want to pack up yet. Because I packed up my Switch, not Switch, Wii U, the few Wii games that I have, 360. And then I threw a bunch of the original Xbox and PlayStation 2 games in as well. And on top of my Blu-rays and shit. And I did throw some Super Nintendo games and a couple of Genesis games in one box. Throughout the week, I'll probably fill up another box or two. I am happy that there's apparently a retro game store down there. It seems to still be open, so that's cool. Like 15, 20 minutes away from the house, drive, like 15-minute drive. I thought I saw another one too, but I'm not sure. I think it is down there, but they don't really have a website. It was just like a Facebook thing. So that'll be a bonus, honestly, for me. That's a big deal. I kind of just went soft-spoken. That is a big deal. Have I been doing doing soft-spoken the whole time? I think I have been, right? I don't know. I don't even know. I'm like not. I'm like all over the place mentally lately. I had such a brutal headache yesterday too. It sucked. It was the worst kind of migraine / tension headache I've gotten in a bit. It was not fun. I guess I'll just keep going back and forth from Whisper. I don't even know. I can't remember what the hell I was doing. Still playing Rebirth, though. I put a bunch of hours into it yesterday. That part I'm in now, Junon, is really pretty big, actually. I did a couple side quests in there, and now I'm finding the other Chadley stuff, that you do, all that side shit. And what's her name? Yuffie appeared. She's not in the party yet. I would assume she ends up in the party, but that's doing its thing and stuff. Obviously, I'm still enjoying the shit out of it. I think I'm like 13 hours in now, or 12. Freaking poured yesterday. It's supposed to pour like all week, or at least 3 or 4 the 5 days. But freaking because of the street we're on, like the front end of it like gets flooded like crazy. But it was coming down yesterday, and like I said, we're gonna get a bunch of rain throughout the week. I was looking up. I was trying to figure out like if they have any different Mountain Dews in North Carolina. I was like, oh shit, what's the Mountain Dew scene gonna be like down there? Is it gonna be like, yeah, get some fresh ones or the same shit? I don't know. No, they have a Walmart down there I can check. They have a bunch of Dollar Generals, like 3 within like a 2-mile radius. So those could be packed in some. The supermarkets they have, that was like Food Lion, I think. I have one other one. I forget what it was called. There's like no 7-Elevens, to my knowledge. Sounds like somebody on a motorcycle shooting down Sunrise Highway. I will admit, I'm going to be happy to not fucking hear people fucking speeding down Sunrise Highway, or the trucks like boom, 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 like 5 in the morning. There's like if you go right here on this street and then you make a right, the service road for Sunrise Highway is right there, and there's a big tree, and there's a house like right there too, which is nuts. And there's a big tree there that like since we've been here, like 3 cars of it. Like I said, I'm hoping to find some stuff. In the brief weekends I'll be here for G sales, because they will have started up. I don't know how the G sales scene's going to be down there. It's a little concerning, but can't be any worse than the last season was here, let me tell you. It was rough. Outside of getting that stuff I got, which cost me $80. It was the worst season I've had in possibly ever, actually. It might have been the worst since I've been going to G sales. Like, I've consistently gone to G sales since, like, 08. 09 was a really good season. And this was before video game. Like, video games were, like, people, the retro scene and everything on YouTube and stuff like that was already there, but it was really starting to come into its own. But back then, you were able to get a ton of stuff at G-Style still without, like, everybody trying to find it. And, like, each year after that, like, more and more people are trying to find video games. Like I said at that one, I think I would have mentioned it. Oh, I still think about this one, too. I had this G-Sale, and this person's looking in this box, and they're asking about the price of it. And it was like, I looked briefly. I'm like, I can't keep looking because I'm going to see more shit. I saw, like, Adventures of Link, Zelda 2, Ice Hockey. And I think 1 or 2 other NES games. I can't remember what they were called. But there was a bunch of NES games in there and a bunch of Game Boy stuff that I did not see. But the guy had said it. $20 for everything. And this person didn't know shit about games. But they knew that they have value. And I was like, oh, man. If I'd gotten there like 3 minutes earlier. Who knows? There could have been jack shit in there in terms of value. But I doubt it. You would have. There was definitely more than $20 worth of value in there. It's a pretty big box, because there was an NES holder that holds 10, and then there was more underneath from what I was gathering, and then I guess there was Game Boy stuff on the side that you couldn't see because it was too small and it was down. Like, this is a guy who probably pulled it out of the attic. It was his kid's stuff. His kid's been, because this guy had to have been in his 60s. This kid's been out of the house for years. You know, yeah, so get the shit the hell out of here. $20. I was crushed. I was like, no. But this happens, you know. And I'm not a person who's going to step in and be like, I'll give you 50. Because that's just, in my opinion, fucked up. And I'm just not like that anyway. I don't have that kind of gene in me or whatever the fuck. To do that. And then listen, admittedly, if you're a reseller or you're going to garage sales in general trying to get stuff, you almost have to be a bit scummy. Problem is, I'm really not. I hate to say a bit scummy. That's not the right word. Well, some people are. It's like, because if I saw that box and everything was in there, and he said, and he was like $20, I wouldn't be like, I'll give you more, but I wouldn't be like, how about 10? I'd be like, I know what's in here. I'm going to make $200. I don't care. If I could have made 205, you know, it's not, you know. And then you got to hope this stuff works too, you know. You know, you get, that's why you're always taking a chance in a way. You know, I've gotten plenty of disc-based games from G-Sales that are just beyond scratch. They work, but they need to be rebuffed. I might actually try to buy, like, a rebuffer. I think they're pretty expensive. The ones they use in, like, the retro game stores, like, it's like this big. If it was a couple $100, I'd probably consider getting one just to have it, because there's plenty of discs I could buff out. Or at least clean up a bit, because some of the NFL Street games I got are badly scratched. They work. But if I want to sell those, it's like their values are already fucked. I have to, you know, when the person gets the game, I have to hope it still works in their system, because some systems just ain't going to take it. Like, my PS2 could play it, but the other person's can't, you know? It's happened before. Because I'll always play it for a bit, the game, but I'm not going to play for more than half an hour, and who the hell knows, it could be a problem 2 hours into the game, you know? And some discs are just like, you're just like, holy shit. Usually it's a lot of lighter scratches, but sometimes you see those gashes where you're like, that's a problem. That's why it's nicer with, even up into the PS3 started this really because it was Blu-ray. I guess Blu-ray discs themselves are just a bit tougher. They don't scratch as easy as the DVDs did. I don't know if they have special coating on them or some shit. But I would, I'd love to. I'd love to have the garage sale scene be hopping down there. But you know what? 2023 last season's past. I'm talking like I'll go back to 2009 because that's like I was going in 08 much more consistently than I would have been prior to that, a year or two prior. But 09, I was hitting them like every weekend, and I got some good stuff. And even in 23, like I got that NES stuff and the Xbox games, 16 games. It was $80, but I've still gotten it, even with everybody, me obviously included. I was one of the people going early on, but people get wind of it, and then they just want to collect too. For that, it's not even about selling the stuff because I do sell stuff, but I keep stuff too. It's not like some people want to collect, and it's cheaper to collect at a garage sale than it is a retro game store. Like even if they're selling the games for $5 a piece, I get Panzer Dragoon Order at that 1G sale. 16 games for $80, they equal out $5 a piece. Almost every game in there was worth more than $5. Some I got specifically to have. Like a Brute Force, I wouldn't have normally picked that up to sell because I'm gonna play it. I wanted to play it again. And that might be worth $5. I mean, you realistically would sell it for more than $5, but it's not going to make you profit after eBay fees and everything else. But like Panzer Dragoon Order, Metal Arms, $5 a piece. Contra, like it could have been 10 a piece. I wouldn't have paid 10 a piece of games, and if you're buying it to collect them, you're still getting a great deal. And especially the condition those games were in, flawless. The Xbox games, the NES games are a little. Some were in good shape, some weren't. But I've out here in Iceland, in the time, 2020, 21, 22, 23, 4 years, going to G sales, I got that. I got, oddly enough, the most valuable pull was when I got that same place I had gotten 3 years in a row. That same garage sale, and I'm going to miss it this year because they usually have it in late summer or into fall. It's usually August, September they'll have it, so we'll be gone, which sucks because they would have it again. The first year I went to that one, I would have done a video on all these. I got the Game Boy, I got $30. I got a Game Boy Advance, which I still have, and like a ton of games. I have to look that up. I have that on my Instagram. Yes, that's what it is, Instagram. Jeez. Thankfully, I don't post a ton of shit on Instagram, which is nice. So I'll get to it quick. Here it is. Okay. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I got 4, 7, actually 8 because it was another game. And I got 8 DS games. The Blue Game Boy Advance SP and 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 17 GBA games. So I got 25 games and a system. There's some cables in there as well for $30. That was a great pull. And then the year after, let me see some of these other ones. I got these for $3 a piece. The Pokemon Battle Revolution for the Wii, Mario Party 8, Smash Bros, Wii Sports Resort. There's NFL Street in there as well. This one was for $1 a piece. I still have most of these. Kingdom Hearts, Jaws, the Madden 20, NFL Blitz for the PlayStation, Tekken 4 I sold, Wheelman 360, NFL Street 2. And this one was the second one I got from that same garage sale, was the No Mercy game that actually is the... I talked about this one. I was considering selling it, and it has, I guess that is an autograph on there. I don't know what wrestler it is. I think someone was saying Jericho. I looked it up. It does look like it could be a Jericho one. Although, yeah, Jericho would have been in WWE at that point, or WWF at the time. But then I was like, oh, I want to look it up and see what it's selling for. And then I'm like, why are there some selling for like $350? It's because it's a variant in the sense that I guess the first batch of games, some of them had a glitch and it would fuck your game up. You couldn't save or something. And you had to send it back to, it's a THQ that made that. And they would send you another one back. And this one, instead of saying like on the little letters and numbers, the little code or whatever, it said -USA. This one says like USA-1. And I'm like, holy shit. And then and this was $10. It had the manuals, Harvest Moon 64 manual I sold, which sold for like $30. And it had the Ogre Battle 64 manual and box, no game in there. Paper Mario 64. Well, it's just Paper Mario, right? There was none other ones at that point. Paper Mario with the box and manual, and there's a couple other manuals in there as well. $10 for all that. Okay, Ogre Battle and Paper Mario were in there. I remember I was walking out of that garage sale, and these two people are walking like, oh shit, nice. And I'm like, there ain't no games in these boxes, dude. It's not as nice. Although, No Mercy is the one with all the value. And I got the ones right around the block with the Resident Evil Director's Cut, Tecmo Super Bowl for the PlayStation, and it's just I've gotten some good stuff here. And 2020, the first year I was going, I think it was $2 a piece. No, how much did I get? I think I got 6 games for $10. And the 2 games in there that were the key were Cold Fear and Ghost Hunter for the PlayStation 2. And those are in great shape. So, I've gotten good stuff here. I got an N64 controller for $1 that I used. I did pretty good out here. If you look back at the point from, like, if you're, like, looking at it in terms of the price value going up of the stuff I got back in the day, like, 2009 was nuts. I remember I got 10 Sega CD games for $10, or it was 9 for 10. I remember I wanted everything. There was a Sega CD, a Genesis, some controllers and shit. And the guy's like, 50. I'm like, oh, shit. I'm like, how much for the games? He's like, $10. I was like, cool. And then I think I've told this story. And Night Trap only had 1 disc. And I'm like, I'm like, I wonder. I'm like, I went back to the garage sale the next day. And the Genesis shit was, see, this would not, 10 years, even 5 years later, that shit would have been gone. Because towards the end of the first day, if the guy was like, oh shit, I can't sell it for like $30-$40, they would just sell it for 10. The next day I go back, $10, I get the crate with the Sega CD, the Genesis, the big Genesis arcade stick, multiple adapters were in there, which were great because those Sega Genesis adapters still, especially the original model adapters, sold for like $15 a piece, even though they're heavy. There was a couple NHL games in there. Just like I said, the Sega CD, the Genesis, a bunch of other cables, $10. I was like, yes. So I'm walking home with the milk crate. But I'm like, And then I opened up the Sega CD disc, and the drive and the Night Trap other disc was in there. And there was something. I had to open up that Sega CD because it didn't actually play the things because of like one of the I had to open it up and like there was something missing in the connector. I had to go in there and reconnect it. It was the Model 1 Sega CD too. It wasn't the second model, which I had. But even I think it was 2014 or 15. I remember having to ride home my bike with this too. It wasn't as bad as all that PS2 stuff I'd gotten, but it was more Sega CD stuff, 32X. I think there was Genesis stuff in there. It was such a good deal, too. That was a good one. Look back on all that stuff, and you're like, damn, man. I think as you get further along, you're going to see less and less of the Genesis, NES, Atari type shit. And you're going to see like more PlayStation, Nintendo 64, Xbox, PS2 Cube. Even though you saw a bunch of that 10 years ago, I think you're going to see more of it. All the older stuff has kind of all been pushed out unless more people are than reselling the older shit they got 15, 20 years ago. I don't know. because I mean I did come across the NES stuff this year, so you still will see it. I think the game I've gotten the most at garage sales over the years is definitely Mario Kart Wii. I've gotten that thing probably 10 times over the years. Even Final Fantasy VII, I think I've gotten 3 or 4 times. What else? NFL Blitz the League. No, it was just called Blitz the League, sorry. Blitz the League 2. I've come across a decent amount. That one actually has pretty good value. And I come across a lot of Wii systems and controllers. But that first year in 09, it was literally, that was the summer of the Genesis. Like, I think I got 4 Genesis systems throughout the summer. I mean, GameCubes as well. Like, I got like 3 GameCubes throughout the whole summer. I got a GameCube for like, I think it was the system. It's like $8 for the system. And I think it had a controller and the wires. It might have like 1 game. Good times. Another regret from G-Sales. I think I would have done a video for this too. This would have been early on this channel. This would have been 2017. I got a bunch of toys. I got a bunch of the old Muscle Men, the wrestling little Muscle Men, weird looking figures, right? They were pink and they had orange. They had different color ones as well. But I used to have them when I was a kid. But I got a ton of those for like $3. Those made bank. I got Ninja Turtle guys, Transformers, and I could have gotten more. I don't know why I didn't, because I was like, I don't want to spend all my money on one, because it's like the first one I hit. I'm an idiot. Because the guy had a bag of toys, I could have gotten another $10 worth of toys and made another like $200. Like, he had Micro Machines there. There was some Thundercat stuff, I believe. There was more Transformers, though, and more He-Man guys. You know, I still make those mistakes at G-Sales. I don't get everything. Sometimes I'm good with it, but other times I'm not. Turned into a bit of a G-Sale ramble. Like I said, though, it'd be nice to see how that... If anybody lives in North Carolina, I know somebody mentioned they would live in that area, the Asheboro area. Let me know how the G-Sales are down there if you go to them. I'm excited about that big national forest that's fucking close. It'll be fun to walk in. Zoo down there as well. It's going to be quite a change. It's going to be, I don't want to say it's necessarily a culture shock. I think a lot of times when you move states, it's going to be, unless you're moving from like, you know, how we moved from New York to Jersey or to Connecticut. It's similar. But I've been to North Carolina before, not for a long time, but the second state I'm familiar with the most is Florida, behind New York. But it's just going to be a change. It's going to be, you know, fresh and new and exciting, but also nerve-wracking. Anybody knows, and I'm sure plenty of you know, when you, especially leaving state, because things change anyway. You got to change your ID, and you got to change everything, you know, bank accounts and stuff. You gotta close accounts, open new ones. You know, the first move, you know, going from Massapequa out here, I changed my ID, but everything else I kept. And now it's gonna be different, but it's gonna be exciting. It's gonna be fun. Like I've said in the past, it's expensive to live on my own. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and throw out the price of the house itself, but the house we got down there, up here, would probably be $600,000, if not more. And I'm not saying it should be. That's how much they would sell it for here, possibly even more. The condition it's in and everything. It's getting crazy on Long Island with the prices. Holy shit! Like, your money's not going. You're not getting the bang for your buck. Your money's not going as far as it should when you live on Long Island. I think that's why people move. They'll live here, and if they're doing well here, you retire to states that are not as expensive, because then your money's actually going the distance, you know. because I'm not going to shit on Long Island as a place, except the fact that it's a little bit overcrowded. Unless you're watching that movie with, was it Julia Roberts and Ethan Hawke? Leave the World Behind or something, you know, and you'd think Long Island was freaking, you know, Montana population, like you'd think you were in the middle of the vast wilderness, you know. I didn't know Long Island was such a, you know, open environment that nobody lived in, and there's only one road back to the city. That still pisses me off, like, I don't know why it shouldn't, but... It's like when you see a movie, you know, because when they film movies in like a big city scene, you know, the cars are on the road and there's nobody around them because they have to do their filming. So I bet they'll be in Los Angeles or New York City and there'll be a car chase and there's like 2 extra cars on the road. I'm like, yep, sure, dude. I'm sure the people who live in LA have never seen a road so clear in their lives. But it's going to be nice and I'm excited for that. And I'm going to get down to Florida, and the plus is the train is going to be cheaper than coming all the way up from Penn. I can get that room on the Amtrak for like $250 less. And it's still a fairly long ride. I think it's still like 14, 15 hours from, I guess it'd be Raleigh to Winter Haven, Florida, because once you get to, it's funny, when you, getting down to like DC, you're down there in like 3 hours, and then more stops appear, and then it's like Florida itself is like 6 hours. It's nuts. You know, even Georgia's fairly long too. I feel like Georgia and Florida are like super long on the train. But the way it's set up, see, it makes more sense for me to get off, and I gotta ask my mom and aunt this next time. Because if you get off at Kissimmee, it's literally like 3 hours less time, because it hits Kissimmee and then it doesn't hit Winter Haven. It skips over Winter Haven, hits Lakeland, then goes to Tampa, then has to go back to Lakeland, then hits Winter Haven, and then continues on towards Miami. So it's like 3 extra hours. And then they got to back the train into the station in Tampa. So the gates come down on some of these streets, and I'm like, holy shit, these people are stuck here for like 20 minutes at a fucking railroad crossing. Possibly longer. I was like, oh my God. That was a rough trip because they hit it. I think I talked about this. They hit a deer in like North Carolina, I believe. I remember I woke up, slept a bit, and I'm like, why the fuck is the train? I'm like looking out the window. I'm like, why is that train stopped in the middle of nowhere? It was just woods. And they're like, oh, we hit a deer. I was like, nice. What the fuck? And then when we got to DC, they had to change out engines, and the first engine, dead. They get another engine, dead. So they had to get a third. I was like, what the fuck, man? Those 2 instances were like 5 hours of delays. So I might just say fuck it and go to Kissimmee. It's a little bit longer of a ride for them to get me than Winter Haven by like maybe a half an hour. We'll see. It's not any less money, I don't think. But I want to get down there again, though. So, because I would have planned on going in about mid-June, but things moved up when we, God, I didn't think we were going to get those houses as soon as we did, so. I already got a friend who's like, oh shit, I'm going to be golfing in Myrtle Beach in September, and there's this other place he's going to in North Carolina. It's pretty close to you. I can stop by. I was like, all right, got visitors already. It's not over. Like I said, it's like a 9.5 hour ride back to Long Island, and it's like 9.5 hours down to Lake Wales in Florida, which is funny. It's almost like exactly in the middle of both places, which I thought was kind of funny. It's not a long ride back. My friend's like, it's not like you're moving to Seattle or something and you're on the other side of the country. I mean, I'll be back up here. I mean, my fiance will be to see family, and I'll come up too to see friends and shit. You know, most of my, I mean, I have some family on Long Island still, but it's really my one uncle who's in Jersey, who's my mom's sister, and then my mom's brother, and then my aunt, who's my mom's sister, and they're both in Florida now, around the block from each other. So there's no man. My dad's dead, so there's no like immediate family here. I do have some cousins, an aunt and uncle. That's it. I think there's 4 or 5, and one I haven't talked to in years. So, and then the rest of my family has moved long ago. Like they're in like Arizona and Texas, Chicago, not Chicago, well, Illinois. I don't know if it's Chicago or it's a suburb of Chicago. Where are some of the other people? I don't know. I mean, I have my half brother and half sister in Georgia, and the other one's upstate New York. But I'm pretty close to her too. I haven't seen her in years, so I could be like, hey, I'm like 4 hours away. Like I said, I have siblings, but I'm also an only child. I'm an only child for my mom, but I have siblings through my dad. My dad was married 4 times. My mom was his 3rd marriage, I think. But it's gonna be exciting. I'm also looking forward to getting back into that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I haven't played it since during the day yesterday because we watched those movies and then we watched the Impractical Jokers, and then my head hurts, so I'm like, I can't play after watching that movie. I'm like, I gotta try to go to sleep. And I haven't played yet today. I'm filming this on Sunday. It's 1 o'clock now. It's been too long. It's funny, like I have a lot of video games, but I don't have. I'm comparing myself to like other collectors you'll see on YouTube who have like 5, 10, 15,000 games. Like I don't have anywhere near that. But when I'm boxing these games up, I'm like, holy shit! Like 400 or 500 games is a shit ton of games. So I still got to do the PS4, and the Xbox One's the biggest. I might do that collection again one more time while I have not have them boxed up. So maybe this week. I want to say I have about 100 Xbox One games, a lot of which are sealed because I didn't get around to playing them. And some of them were gifted by some of you guys, and then some I bought because they were on sale. I'm like, I got to get them. And once you have too many games, you're not going to get around to playing them also. That's why I'm so much better with the PS5 now. I completed Ghostwire Tokyo. I completed Plague Tale Requiem. I completed Siberia, The World Before, Spider-Man 2, Jedi Survivor. I'm the main game. I'm not 100%. I got close to 100% in Spider-Man 2. Those 5 that I beat another one. Oh, Dead Space remake. So I'm much better at completing these games now instead of because the Xbox One I was good at first when I first got it, but then you start to pick up games on deals, and next thing you know, you're piling up, and you're like, oh shit, I can't get around all these. Like I don't really count that as much with the retro stuff. Because I'm throwing a lot of that in just to play, especially the older cartridge-based shit. Xbox PS2 Cube, stuff like that. Sure, but it's really like the newer consoles. Like even the PS4, I gathered up way too many games too fast. And I have sealed PS4 games as well. Like what did I beat on the PS4? The Resident Evil 4 remake, Uncharted 4, Last of Us 2, Last of Us Remastered. What else did I complete on that thing? Stray. A couple other ones I can't remember. Sackboy's Big Adventure, what the fuck it was called. A couple other ones as well, but then I bought a bunch of them. Oh shit, what am I doing? Maybe I'll get around to playing some more of those. That's why it's funny, because when I played Siberia the World Before, I'm like, I want to play. It's noisy out there. I apologize for that. I wanted to get this to an hour, but it's going to be, alright, I got to turn this off. Alright, guys. Almost got to an hour, 50 minutes, not bad. But yeah, thanks for checking this out, and have a good day.